Continue. Let's get right to it. I got a puppy on my lap. You can't see it, but it's there. Downstairs. All right.
Hello again, sweetie.
Sweetie needs money. Does Sweetie gets money?
Oh, sweetie, I heard your conversation with the manager about your financial troubles. When do you get your next paycheck?
If she could, this woman would feed and clothe you and every other sad, lost person on this earth.
I think I could get this. Tug on her heartstrings.
Your deportment remains dignified, as you should.
It isn't easy for me to ask this of anyone, but I'm at the end of my rope. Any money you could... Any money you have could help me.
I have a few cents on me, but I could give you this to pawn. Just to tide you over.
Wonderful. He has a pin.
The pin is round and slightly tarnished. Three sailboats in bas-relief with the sun hovering over the water behind them. A chipped green banner at the bottom reads, Sam Baptiste, Summer 31, Dinghy Races.
I promise I'll buy it back for you once I have more money.
Oh, it's not an ancient family heirloom or anything, but I suppose it would be nice to get it back.
About your pin.
I hope you're able to pawn that old trinket. Of course, dear. I just wish I could have done more.
Aww. I asked for money. Alright. It's into the evening. Is Kuno still back out here? Of course he is.
Does Kuno care?
I talked to Manana about the armor.
So?
It's been a bit. I'm trying to remember exactly. Direct out a gun. After 2200. Um, He said to thank you, wasn't too keen on chasing down that armor anyways. He said, you're now the king of the entire Jamrock. Never have I been more troubled by something so inconsequential. I think I say that every time. I have no idea what to pick here. This is how real conversations go. Kuno's talking to you. So? You're like, what should I say to this young lad? He said to thank you. I think this is the option.
Fuck, okay. Kuno's a giver like that, yes?
The confusion.
Kuno sent your fat ass running around like jello.
Look, pig. Kuno sent you to rough some people up. Kuno played you. That happened. Now you and Kuno should move on.
Good idea.
Yes, let's move on.
That's what Kuno said. Don't be saying what Kuno said back to Kuno. Get the fuck out of here, Patterson Kuno. After this shit, you better have something real interesting to say if you want to stay in Kuno's face.
Yeah, real interesting.
I don't have anything to say.
Kuno doesn't fucking care.
Well, I still have some time. I really didn't think that I'd like run out of things to do in the day, but lo and behold. I guess I could look through books. Oh wait, what did we say here? Book's titled Man from the Helm Doll and the Wildfire. Okay. A lonely cormorant surveys the area, indifferent to your approach. Well, I do declare. What's this now? Garden hose. This won't be of much use until the snow melts. Where the hell am I? Chairs and tables eaten by rain and rot.
Hey, what's that noise down there?
Another splattering of bullet holes in this wall. Just a closed door, but you look at it suspiciously. Oh.
There must be another way into the building.
Holy shit. A balcony with a view of the yard and the hanging.
It's been a week and now they show up?
Orange bum hat. Okay. Who's up there?
You see a young man on a balcony nursing a cigarette. His eyes have been following you for a while.
Not looking for any trouble, officer.
No trouble for me. I just want to know what's going on here.
I don't want to be seen talking to the gendarmerie if that's okay. I just want to finish my cigarette.
Don't let him go. This could be your witness. The balcony has a great view of the whole thing.
Actually, the German Dief really needs to talk to you.
Is it really that important?
Like a nervous cat, he keeps stealing looks at the neighboring windows.
Half-light? What is half-light? That's not it. This. I don't have a level up. the body take control, threaten people. Okay.
All right, but make it quick. Once I finish this cigarette, I have to run.
Can you tell me your name?
My name? My name is Martin Martinez.
That's definitely not his real name.
You're not actually called Martin Martinez, are you?
No, of course not. Could you please lower your voice?
Looks like you got a good view of the whirlwind's backyard. Can you tell me anything about the hanging?
I'd even go so far as to say that the view is a little too good, my dear gendarme. Do you have an estimate of when the body will be taken away?
We will remove the body as soon as possible. Now tell us, where were you last Sunday?
Oh. You already asked me that, didn't you?
Wait, is someone else investigating the lynching?
Did you look at Kim?
No, not you two. Some more muscular type.
And when did you speak to this more muscular gentleman?
The lieutenant takes out his little blue notebook and writes something down.
Last week? I don't know. Look.
He looks around the courtyard again. Old patio chairs and dead houseplants litter the scene.
He's an actor declaiming a soliloquy. See how you hang on his every word.
You didn't answer the question. What were you doing last Sunday?
I had a friend over.
What kind of friend?
It was my Sunday friend.
What's your friend's real name? Did he see something?
He doesn't reply, gesturing no with his cigarette. Under the dull and darkening sky, the neighboring windows stand silent.
All right,
No.
we'll talk later.
We won't. Now, if you'll excuse me, I really need to get going.
50-50.
This isn't the place or time for questions. Who knows who might be watching from the distance, hidden behind the curtains?
Hey, listen, lower your voice. I'm just trying to make things okay again. Can we meet again somewhere else?
For a moment, the man on the balcony seems almost vulnerable. Something moves in the depths of his feline eyes, compassion and a hint of understanding.
I am sorry, but I really don't have the information you're looking for.
His voice is soft and deliberate. With a flick of his wrist, he sends a cigarette butt flying over the rail.
But, hold on, what's that? For a split second, his hand lingers, as though gesturing towards a stone placed right next to the front door. It's a sign.
Good luck with the investigation.
He's gone.
We should run after him, see where he went.
No point in running. Tenements like these often have multiple exits. If he doesn't want to talk to us, then he'll know how to hide himself.
So we just
He
give
could
up?
be a witness. Him or his Sunday friend. Either way, we need to look into that muscular type who's asking about our case.
Isn't it, what's the guy's name? Head Cheese?
He did leave us a sign. Did you see that? He wanted to draw our attention to that stone right over there. If we find a way inside the building, we can ask around for his apartment.
A stone like any other, lying in a whirl of sleet and mud. Maybe there's something under it.
Turn it
There's a
over.
key beneath it, rusty from the dirt.
This must be for the front door. Pity doesn't have the apartment number on it. This building has many apartments and the man can be in any of them.
How are we going to find the right one?
We'll just have to go in and see.
Put the stone back. Oh, dog in view. You had food. Eviction notices and missing pets are plastered on top of each step. This box is filled with cleaning chemicals. Smells of laundry detergent. Sorry, I took 16 cents out of your shoes. A maroon glow of light pollution rises out from the east. The breaker box is full of cigarette butts and electric wires. You're distant traffic. Night is falling on the city. Just a door. Nothing for you here right now. Alright, well, I'll check on the inside first. Ooh, I also wanted to thank you out to Nightmare Claire for the follow. I rated them last time. Someone has drawn a 5-pointed star on the wall.
This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the board says, number 11. No reply. It's a solid lump of metal, but the shackle is deeply corroded. A solid pair of chain cutters would make short work of it. Better whip out those cutters. You won't get very far otherwise.
No. Oh no, dog fell out of my lap. Door 9 is locked. Take postcard.
You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging the furniture. The number on the panel says 10. The walking stops abruptly, but no one comes to the door. You can feel tension on the other side. A poor communard from the looks of it. The room is barely bigger than a closet.
Okay, gotta be real sly. Part 8. Mailbox is overflowing.
Give me a moment.
An elderly woman is leaning on her broom, her knuckles white as bone. She seems to be having difficulties breathing.
The cold never does any good for my bronchitis.
So what take long? I only have. Are you alright? Should I call a doctor?
I'm fine. Fine. Don't you worry about me.
She starts coughing, red spots appearing on her cheeks.
You're still worried. It's very worrying.
Now, what do you want from me, policeman?
She's the cleaning lady. She knows the floor plan and the residence.
Who are you?
I'm no one. Just an old woman who cleans these hallways.
Do you live here?
If you can call it living. I have a little room upstairs right next to the coal room. It's barely bigger than a closet, but I don't complain, no. I have my bed and my aching bones to keep me company, and that's all I need from this world.
She hasn't spoken to anyone for a while. Even her sentences feel rusty.
A few questions about those apartments.
Ask away, policeman.
Is one of the residents on vacation? The mailbox is overflowing.
People come and go. I don't keep an eye on everyone.
They probably just moved or died, hopefully somewhere else.
Who lives in apartment 10?
No one lives there. It's been empty for months.
But I heard someone walking inside.
Impossible. I would know if someone had moved in there. Maybe it's those countercultural people again, breaking into a house like it's a public space. You're a policeman. Be good and take a look, will you?
Sure, I'll see what I can find.
Great. Young people. They're worse than rats. You know, always littering the hallways with trinkets and empty beer cans.
Who is behind the padlock door?
Oh, that one is a scientist. A future scholar.
Suddenly the old lady's face is beaming.
I think he studies astrology at the community college. Education's good. I always tell them to study.
Astrology?
Something to do with all those stars around his door. He asked me to leave his drawings up on the wall.
I sure don't mean astronomy.
That's what I said. Astrology.
The lieutenant shakes his head, as though to say, let it go. Come on, people. Try to keep up any standards here. It's not about stars. It's... forget it.
That's all,
She
thanks.
mumbles some kind of a response, then hacks something into her handkerchief.
Looking for a young male in his mid-20s, dark hair, skinny build, smoker on the balcony.
Yes, yes. I know who you mean. The scrawny boy who's always smoking like the devil, right?
Somewhere in the building, a child starts crying. You hear a radio tuned to a talk show and someone taking a shower.
What's he in trouble for?
No trouble, I just want to talk to him. You know where he lives?
Talk?
Starts laughing but turns into a violent coughing spasm. She squeezes her broom and trying to catch a breath.
What was so funny about that?
He lives upstairs in room 28. Go to the balcony. It's one of those doors there. He's usually home in the evening.
Thank you. We should go check out his apartment on the balcony. See if he's home.
Gruffito says a firing squad for the ridge. Someone has torn down the wall. Waves crashing in the darkness. A note reads, foreclosure by Martinez Realty Associates. Okay. Wow. There's a lot here. I'm not ready to go outside yet. It's completely different outside than I was expecting. What is this exit to? Where the heck am I now? Oh, this is below? Okay. Inside the frame of a motorcycle and repair is used, and the tool is used to disassemble it. There's a girl up there. Did she spill the paint? Redescent, Lane, roundabout north. Cape Side Apartments. Oh yeah, I'm coming. Wait, what's this? You want to talk to the pig? Be there in just a minute. Oh my, there's a lot down here. Okay. Docks reserved for residents of Student Lane 33A. Magnesium. The belly of this boat shines like it was recently painted. Oh. Okay.
That isn't just a five-pointed star. It's an inverted white pentagram cradled in a wreath of antlers. The iconography of communism, in other words.
Really?
The star and antlers was developed a century after. The star and antlers retains the ability to evoke hope, disappointment, and fear in equal measure.
Why is the star
To
upside down?
symbolize the toppling of the old order. Also, some social democrats were already using it.
What's the deal with the antlers?
The wreath of antlers represents a natural crown. It was about building a society that could exist in accord with the natural world, and at the same time above it.
Why white?
Because white is the color of peace.
What does it evoke in me?
Nothing
Finished
at all
thought.
yet. Right now, it's just meaningless shapes on a wall.
Old shoe rack, boots, and old slippers. Apartment 12, a loud rumbling snore comes from within. We got magnesium and a little alcohol. Shower curtains are covered in some sort of slime. And 42 cents. Alright, now I'll go talk to this woman. Oh, that's the exit. Sorry, I'm coming. I'm coming. Wrong door. Oh, there's a cat. How you doing, kitty?
The streets will flow red once more, a great torrent rushing down Rue d'Esperance. You wait and see.
The girl stares at the sailboat by the pier.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C.
Start with your blood type and go from there.
Go where? Accosting a minor?
Listen to your partner, pig man. Keep your grubby hooves off little old ladies.
A brush? An artist? The red splatter is urban expressionism. That smell coming from her paint bucket. It's not paint. It's heavy fuel oil.
Keep looking off the side. What are you looking at?
The lieutenant furrows his brow at another one of your eccentricisms. Hatred, disgust. It's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago 2 days' travel away from Rivershaw. Its moneyed residents, used to posh restaurants and upscale boutiques, rarely have reason to visit Martinez.
Who is she?
Probably the Wild Pines rep. We should talk to her. She's a professional negotiator, though. I have the feeling she will be very cooperative while telling us nothing. You should take the lead. Ask her unexpected questions, you know? Do your thing. Don't be afraid to get a bit wacky. Throwing her off is our best bet.
Good idea, piggies. Run along now. Fuck her shit up good. Impound that boat while you're at it. I'd like to watch her swim back to Ozon.
What are you doing to the wall?
Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from low orbit. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words.
So you don't know what to write?
Have you ever tried your hand at graffitio? When faced with a blank wall, most people write unimaginative stuff, like pigs go home and Mono is here. We rarely see pigs round here, though. Just union cats. And my name's not Mona, so...
She wants it to be something true and total.
I have an opinion on this. Want to hear it?
Yeah?
I love public art. Don't mind us. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now that I have an official RCM stamp of approval.
She means the opposite. You've lessened her desire to deface the building.
Is that heavy fuel oil?
Red dyed heavy fuel oil, intended for exclusive use in government vehicles, to be precise.
What did you think I was using? Aquarels? Sucked it out of a cop's fuel tank myself. Back in Jamrock.
She really did it. She's proud of it too.
Fumes are bad for you, okay?
Something to think about next time you're driving around in your pretty little piggy carriage.
Do you know anything about the recent murder?
I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's shit. No shortage of squealers in these parts.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko.
So you won't talk about the murder, but maybe you can tell us something about the murder victim's missing armor.
What do I care about some fucking tin eggshells?
Isn't armor art for the body?
Ugh, alright, sad piggy. I'll give you this one. I saw a little girl in the fishing village running around with military-grade handwear. Look cute as hell. If you haven't been there, the village is a shithole down the coast from the main plaza. Have a good time!
Little girl wearing the gloves there?
No. That's all the snitching Cindy the Skull does for today. Actually, I don't even know why I told you what I just told you.
I don't either.
I have a weakness for animals. It's the animal thing again. Damn it.
Or a weakness for police officers, miss. Thank you either way.
Catch you later, Cindy.
Watch your back, Ungulate. You've got eyes on you.
Oh, I'm sure I do. Above tarp flaps in the wind, forgotten hammers and nail rust. Door's locked, you can't get in. The chair is new, someone lives back here. Okay. Someone's been sleeping here recently. Cindy? Enough coal to last for several winters. Full smells of chemicals. There are pants in the furnace. It's locked. Okay. Back in we go. So is this one?
You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging
Knock
a poor
again.
communard from the looks of it. The room is barely bigger than a closet.
Who is this? The man's a female? This is the police. Open up.
Do I have to open the door? Do you have a warrant? I'm not obligated to open the door if you don't have a warrant.
Let's go. We don't have a reason to get inside that apartment.
It's generally easier to do things if you have literally any reason.
This apartment is supposed to be empty. Did you break in here?
Excuse me? Of course not.
You have plenty of reason to enter.
Then open the door so I can verify your identity.
Oh, come on.
Well, that was easy.
That was smart.
Looks like a fine mattress. Blister pack of medicine peels out of the box. You should take it.
Satisfied? My name is Marielle Charpentier, and I'm an agent with Martinez Realty Associates. I am not breaking in, as I have every right to be here. The keys, see?
Boy, there are a lot of different keys there. More than 20, at least. Her voice is really cheerful, despite her obviously hating you.
Do you want to see my ID as well? You can't legally ask for it, but why not? Want to see my residence permit too?
Inspect the passport. I need your ID. I just need to ask you some questions.
Very well, but please make it quick. I need to be back in La Delta in an hour.
Should I have seen her passport? Maybe. What are you doing here?
I need to get it ready for the next lease, but as you can see, the previous tenant completely trashed the place.
Sounds like they really knew how to have a good time. I fuck shit up too.
Ha! Sounds like you've spent too much time undercover in some rock band.
It's not a compliment.
Who lives here?
It was some kind of a moribund old man who used to be a business owner. You'd think they'd make rent. But that was months ago. Anyway, was there anything you wanted, or is that it? I'm in a hurry.
Is it a bit late to be working?
It is. Everyone says the real estate agents don't do anything. But here I am in the middle of the night cleaning up someone's crash pad. So the sooner we get this over with, the better.
Who lived in the foreclosed apartment down the hallway?
Oh, that's another huge mess. The former tenant owes us 3 months of rent. 3. We closed the apartment and planned on auctioning off the valuables, but... And again, I have no idea how stupid mistakes like this can even happen. But Ron, when he came to close the door, didn't close the neighboring door. And there's a hole in the wall. A hole in the wall. Can you believe it? And then the tenant ran off with his stuff. He's gone.
What?
The money's gone. Just like that.
The sum must have been puny.
I mean, that much money. These apartments look pretty shabby. My money has also disappeared, I think.
Well, it does not disappear from my hands. No, I don't let it. These apartments are perfectly fine. They have gorgeous architecture, a million-real view of the bay, good ventilation, neighbors, life, spark, and they are affordable. I'll tell you, Martinez has a future.
Kind of wish I would have seen her passport, actually.
Creatives and those radio computer wizards.
It's as if they're real wizards, able to resurrect dead real estate and breathe life into bank accounts.
So wait, what happened with the wall?
Don't ask me what happened with the wall. I have no idea how we're going to find the time or resources to fix it. Both apartments are now unrentable. Both.
Thank you, that's all.
Of course.
Give me a moment.
They didn't find any countercultural people in apartment 10. It was just a real estate agent setting up a room for new tenants.
I see. I hope some good people are finally going to move in. This place needs them.
Radio computer wizards are coming. They're going to save the place and the economy.
Oh, I do like wizards, and people like that in general. They have a lot to tell us about our fates.
Thank you.
She means clairvoyance.
Takes him off. Okay. These shoes come in 3 different sizes. Alright. Balcony. Someone's growing rosemary, thyme, and cactus. 29. Complete silence. Whoever lives here isn't home. 30. Voice from within. Sing along to some buoyant dance track.
This door is made of metal and appears to be reinforced. Someone here really values their security. Number 28. This is where the cleaning lady said the smoker on the balcony lives.
Let's see if anyone's home. Knock on the door.
No one answers.
Looks like the young man we are looking for isn't home. I think our best chance to catch him is in the evening. We should return tomorrow after we have finished with our day's work. How about 9 p.m.? Sound good?
Sound good. Tomorrow at 9 p.m.
Tomorrow, 9 p.m., right here. Apartment number 28. Good, let's go.
Damn. Turns out it's quite tricky finding someone in a big apartment building. Don't worry. You'll get him. Remember, tomorrow. He's probably gone for today.
Leave. Wait. Oh, there's a can. There's a can. Go back out. Can. $0.15. Hey. 3% counts. So I have a little bit of time. I can go to the pawn shop. Oh, I know what to do.
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
Why am I looking at this wall?
Because this is no ordinary wall. It is sublime. Look at it. The shadows, the colors.
Let the conceptual joy flow into your pupils and blossom into thoughts in your brain.
All the other walls on all the other houses must make a pilgrimage in adoration of this, the uncontested pinnacle of wallcraft, color peeled from the very face of God.
More.
Oh, Wall Father.
Kim, I must paint this wall. Add even more beauty to it.
He sounds tired of it all. Cindy the Skull has all the necessary materials. Talk to her.
First off, I know you're tired, Kim, but take another look at this wall. Draw nourishment from its beauty.
Sure.
Let's talk to Cindy, get the necessary materials from her. Yeah, sure. Hello?
Are you trying to sneak up on me? Come to slit my throat in my sleep?
Logic error. She is not sleeping right now.
Pigs come to take me out, trying to snuff me out.
Are you sleeping right now?
Don't get fucking fucking clever with me, pig. You think you're so clever. Trying to sneak up on me again. Trying to sneak up on me.
Oh, come on. Looks like there's more construction here once, decades ago. Shadows in the water, green plants under the calm surface. The room in the whirling isn't much bigger than this sloop.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top
Here we
of
go.
a sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good evening, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
What gave us away?
Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Relax. She meant it in jest.
Joyce L. What does the L stand for?
Meetin, my maiden name.
Shake her hand.
I'm glad to see you here.
Grip is tight and cold.
Like steel. There is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
Yeah. Gotta be weird.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. This is a tactic.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
You're on a boat.
Why, yes, I am.
Does she have a
The
name?
boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
The word, it, feels strange. Such a beautiful boat deserves a proper name.
Cool, but I think your boat really needs a name.
Okay. How about Cordelati 19? Why? Because it was manufactured in Revachol East by a company called Cordelati, and its hull is 19 paces long.
She makes a point of being unromantic about it.
How about sleek fish?
What?
Because it's sleek and fish-like.
I think I'll stick with the factory name, but thank you.
Okay, but what kind of boat is it?
It's a pleasure craft, a 19-pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business.
How do you like it?
My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? He's looking at the woman, assessing her.
A lot of people on
Of course
boats
there
are there.
We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
Wait, we're on an archipelago?
Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Caillou? I thought we were in Revachol.
We are. And the city of Revachol is on the island of Le Caillou.
Still, I haven't seen anyone sail in a boat around here.
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich.
Why?
Why what? Stop thinking. Take her down.
It'll come off like I'm envious, and I'm not.
You're not? Okay then. Just keep on admiring the boat then, unburdened by envy.
You have a license for this boat?
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly Fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
You gotta have a handle on the boat thing.
Good.
Tell me about Wild Pines. What do you do?
I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
So what do they do?
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain.
What are the other Indo-tribes?
Saint-Baptiste, Elysium, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
You're in good company, it seems.
Why, thank you.
How much money does Wild Pines have?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
A billion?
What exactly is a billion?
It's a number, officer. A big one.
What's it made of?
It's made of 1,000 millions. A million is made of 1,000 thousands.
Wow.
20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments. A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility.
Where does Wild Pines get all these billions?
They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
It probably helps to start out with a royal monopoly.
You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that.
What does a huge system want with a place like
You
this?
mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
You don't keep it moving, the workers do. This company's nothing without them.
We built this district.
We. There it is. She owns up to it.
All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, with its bastions. The plazas Meteor and Mosaic. Even some of the old street lamps have been put back thanks to the investments from the WP. Before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour, even before it was part of Revachol, long before Terminal B was erected here, the Pines built it as a resort for its Revacholian employees. A company getaway, for a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution. But that's another matter. I'm here to make sure the Pines can fulfill their responsibilities to the place they built.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
What can you tell me about this strike?
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
Wait, what if I want to hear about trade secrets?
First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade and Aliments that gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
How do I repeal it then?
Why? By throwing off half a century of foreign domination under the Coalition. Unfortunately for you, the Coalition also leases you the right to police West Revachol.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike.
What is your role in this precisely?
I believe the official title is Senior Labour Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
You mean Jean-Luc, my race mentor? He's a great teacher, a man of virtue.
Oh, so you've met him. Has he beguiled you with his inane theories?
My colleague has his peculiarities. Let's not go into this particular one just yet.
Of course. To each their own.
What are we going to talk about before the lynching?
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
What happened to this Gaumont?
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Okay then.
Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
What are the
There are
demands?
leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes, every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
I like
Then
it.
you might also like their other slogan. Demand democracy.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Personally, I don't think it has the same pizzazzo as every worker, a member of the board.
What exactly do they mean by it? What's the demand?
It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about what? About anything really, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, This is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
It's pretty funny, I have to admit.
They're having a blast. But how can they afford it? After 4 months, my assumption was they would prefer a more practical solution.
What are you gonna do?
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assumed that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out.
The scabs at the gate, did you put them there?
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the union refuses to? If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Tell me about this union boss, Mr. Clare.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Really?
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
Is he that bad?
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
Wait, there are two of him?
Yes. Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
What about the union itself outside of the Brothers Clare?
The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The Brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is...
an effective advocate for the rights of the local working man?
Why do you think so?
What she calls corruption is simply an aesthetic category.
What else can I do for you?
One more thing, you said something happened in the elections.
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
Eerie.
Downright haunting. These kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
That's all I need. Let's change the subject. Yes.
I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please.
How long have you been married?
We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I'll...
My cat really wants to jump up on my leg.
It's simply elusive, so much so that most establishments, teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect that looks like the reeds. Gary sent us the clipping.
So the newspaper clipping is all the evidence you have?
Most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insular Indian phasmid perfectly, and they didn't even know what they were looking at.
So is it dangerous?
Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully?
Is it valuable?
Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie.
Does it have cool powers?
Yes. It can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it stayed hidden all these years. Centuries, even.
So what's so special about the stick bug, then?
Oh, dear. I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. It is very special. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure.
Let's tell us about the cryptids. Cool cryptids.
You're an enthusiastic idiot, but you're still an idiot.
I want to know everything about cryptids, living cryptids, extinct cryptids, marine cryptids, land cryptids.
We
Bring
don't
it
have
on.
time for Cryptozoology 101.
All right.
Let's...
I failed. Visual calculus has helped me pretty well. I don't know. Sure. I think it's time to pack it in. Save the game. Exit.